July 29, 2023. Good afternoon. This is Midday Live. This afternoon, health officials working on measures to reduce the about 50,000 deaths of babies from birth asphyxia in Ghana. In international news this afternoon, U.S. offers flagrant support to Niger's ousted President Mohamed Bazoum after he was ousted in a coup. Welcome to the program. My name is Noble Crosby, and we're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana Plus on DSTV channel 279. Let's start this afternoon with a rather sad development as a 14-year-old Masawudu Abdulaziz, who died from a stray bullet during a fire festival in Abuabo, has been laid to rest. Residents of the area have intensified search to arrest the two perpetrators. Ibrahim Bakar is a man following the story. He's joining us. He broke the story to us to tell us the latest concerning the happenings in the Abuabo community. Ibrahim, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Tell us about the latest concerning the 14-year-old Masawudu Abdulaziz.
Well, Crosby, like you rightly said, the police has given the body to the family for burial. This was after an autopsy was conducted on him. Now, the doctors were able to remove 3 bullets in his stomach. We were told the bullet hit his ribs and also along the lungs and other parts of the body. So that's how come he died instantly. So 3 bullets were removed from his body. This means the shooting was multiple. We were told initially that it was just 1 shot, but getting 3 bullets from him shows that the shots were more than 1. So now he has been buried. The police has intensified their investigation. For now, the perpetrators have not been identified. We are hoping that the police will go and look in the CCTV camera, because fortunately where the incident happened, there was a CCTV camera very close to the scene of incident. So they are telling the family that by Monday they will retrieve that video and be able to identify the victim. The family also are also trying to assist the police, because the police have told them that they have to assist them with information, and that will lead to the arrest of these perpetrators. So they are also doing their investigations behind the scene, trying to see whether they will retrieve videos that will identify the people who conducted those acts, and also assist the police with that investigation. So for now, that is only what they are doing.
So when the incident happened on Thursday, we understand some injuries were also reported. Talk to us about the current situation of the injured who is receiving treatment at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital.
Well, fortunately, the injured is also receiving treatment positively. Yesterday, 2 of them were sent to the hospital. 1 was treated and discharged. The other one, who was battling for his life, is now in a stable condition. Some bullet pellets were also removed from his body, but we are told that he is responding to treatment.
So when the police say they are on a manhunt for the perpetrators, do you mean the person who took the shot and the other guy who believed he was fortified?
So exactly, those 2 people, the police are searching for them. The one who called for the shot and the one who also fired. Those are the people the police are searching to arrest them. And also organizers of the event, because we were told that the leadership of the community asked them to postpone it. So the police was not aware of that activity on that day, because usually when they do these kind of celebrations, we record some casualties. So this year, they were trying to streamline activities. In fact, the police had already issued a directive that even if there will be any shooting incident, no live bullet should be used. It should only be rubber bullets. But this is a case where people decided not to comply with that directive and went ahead to use live bullets, leading to the loss of life of Masaud.
So going forward, how about the traditional leaders of the community? Are they beginning to make plans to see whether or not they could put a ban on this kind of celebration or measures to ensure that something as dastardly as this does not repeat itself?
For now, that initiative has already been taken, so there is a ban on such celebration until further notice. You know, this celebration is normally being done by the Mampusis and the Wombes because that is a celebration they do at the Asaba. These are people who are in Kumasi, so they come together for this kind of celebration. But now the leadership has put a ban on it until further notice. They are saying they want to streamline the activities. They want to do it in a way that going forward we wouldn't record any such casualties.
Ibrahim, thank you so much. Ibrahim Abubakar is our correspondent in the Ashanti region there. Now, back in the capital, panelists on TV3's news analysis program Key Points, they have backed calls for a regular lifestyle audit to be conducted for all public office holders. During the week, the Special Prosecutor's Office conducted a search of the former sanitation minister's residence. This comes in the wake of the theft of cash from the home of the former sanitation minister, Cecilia Abnadapa, a case currently in court. Here are the views of the panelists who appeared on Key Points today.
So I believe that the OSP is seized with the matter. It does not detract from the fact that the police on its own can also launch some inquiry into the circumstances. Thursday, when the matter broke, and daybreak Friday, before the matter took mileage in social media and within the media space, there were a lot of calls on the police to move in swiftly to launch some inquiry. Nothing happened until Monday, when persons began to, over the weekend, persons filed petition electronically to the office of the OSP. So it is those electronic petitions that I'm sure sprang the office of OSP into action. The police ought to have also gone in, because the perspectives are just too many to the matter.
The first thing that I want to do is to say that she did so well in yielding to pressure, particularly the ones coming from social media, and to say that, look, I have issues with some of the charges, but I believe that this matter would come and distract the focus of the government, and it will be a fodder that will be used to attack the government, and I don't want my party and my government to suffer, and so because of that, I am resigning. I thought it was something that was commendable as investigations, go on. Let us begin to ingrain or introduce and to foster the culture of resignation among our people, and particularly among duty bearers. Let it be part of the norm.
She may have lots of cash, but it may turn out that we can't tell that it is a bribe. Once she cannot explain, Kisi Ejabin will be going to court to confiscate the money. So that is good. So he's been found with money. We can't show that it is corruption. We can't show that it is bribery. We can't show that it is money laundering, right? But we see also that it's very clear to us that you've not also earned it legally, so unexplained wealth or illicit wealth. So in that case, the next thing is that Kisi Ejabin will be going to court to confiscation proceedings. It's also provided for in the LI 2374.
Somebody also called that, let's go to the homes of politicians. And,
Don't use yourself as a
look,
example.
I'm saying I am inviting whoever
because you
today without any caution, any warning. Yes, I'm ready. Come.
Yes, you can. We are not talking about you. You are not an
even as I sit here, go to my house and start. And I pray that he brings out the substantial evidence that he has found for the public consumption. And all of us can speak to that. But until then, any attempt to criminalize anything in course of the investigation will be prejudicial.
Still on the fallout of key points, spokesperson for a group of governing NPP members of parliament who demanded the sack of the finance minister, Kenneth Ferrata, say they still stand by their demand. Andy Kwame Piakubi, who is also the MP for Asante Akim North in the Ashanti region, spoke on the key point after colleague MP for South Dai, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamepo, questioned why they have gone quiet on the matter.
You gave us hope that Parliament was truly going to be working. Okay, given the fact that for the first time you have a majority caucus taking a stance against an appointee of the president, and we applauded you, but you disappointed us. It's important we tell you, and then so that those people who are also around you and people who have the courage and all of a sudden they feel like some cold water has been thrown on their zeal would also know this, and it's important we let you guys know that in a democracy, when some of these things begin, they are commendable. And we commend you just to be able to urge you on. We don't commend you today only for you to let us down tomorrow. I think that you have disappointed us.
We did the right thing. You were holding a press conference. Press conferences don't remove ministers. It is the motion of censure that the constitutional formula for removing a minister, which we filed.
Now to some issues concerning health. Stakeholders in neonatal care and child health are deliberating on reducing neonatal deaths, particularly asphyxia cases across the country, as part of efforts to reduce neonatal mortality. Gordon Asidiba in this report takes a look at how mothers are struggling to care for their asphyxiated babies.
Bianca Kuke and her husband, Papaya Olate, are expecting their first child. Bianca could not go through preconception health care like many pregnant women here, something that could expose her unborn child to asphyxia. At the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, like other hospitals, few babies are born with asphyxia. They are often transferred to the neonatal intensive care unit for care.
I didn't go through any preconception care because I had no awareness about it. I eat a balanced diet, I listen to my doctors, everything they teach me here, I just follow it. That's all I do.
23-year-old Erica Mofa has a 4-month-old baby girl who is asphyxiated. Her baby was admitted to the intensive care unit for 2 months right after birth. She nearly lost her child.
For this crime,
I hadn't set my eyes on my baby for 4 days. I only see her at the ICU when it is time to breastfeed.
Her baby is still recovering, but she still comes to the hospital often for checkups.
We come here every 2 months for her to be checked.
According to the Ghana Health Service, about 50,000 babies die from asphyxia in Ghana every year at birth. The Ghana Health Service says the figure could be higher, given that some of the cases that occur during home deliveries and outside recognized facilities may not have been captured in the data.
Birth asphyxia happens when a baby's brain and other organs do not get enough oxygen and nutrients before, during, or right after birth. It could happen before birth in the womb and result in stillbirths or during prolonged labor. According to the Newborn and Child Health of the Ghana Health Service, on the average, 1 million babies are born every year, and with the current neonatal mortality rate of 17 per 1,000 live births, it means for every 1 million births, about 117,000 are dying, and out of this, 30% are dying from birth asphyxia.
An obstetrician gynecologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Patrick Kenum, blames it on a lack of awareness of the condition.
It's a significant contribution to the number of babies we send to NICU. We are putting in a lot of effort to bring the numbers down. Okay. So before you get pregnant, you need to have what we call a preconception care. Okay. this is the care we will give to any woman who is planning on embarking on a pregnancy, because we know that your health status affects what happens to you when you are pregnant. So what we will say is that we are optimizing you for the pregnancy. Anybody with diabetes, anybody with hypertension, anybody with any chronic medical illness, you shouldn't embark on a pregnancy without having this preconception care.
He believes much can be done to tackle the issue.
The oxygen in the mother's blood must be able to enter the baby's blood. From there, the blood must pass through the baby's umbilical cord and go to the baby. So any place along this transportation system can cause the baby to be deprived of oxygen. For instance, for the mother to get oxygen, if you have a heart condition, if you have asthma, all these things will impair your ability to take in the oxygen into your blood. So you are not downloading enough oxygen, and the baby is going to suffer the consequence.
Having a dead or malformed baby in any society can be heartbreaking, but in Ghana, the stigma is particularly tough, hence the need to create awareness about birth asphyxia. Godwin Asidiba, TV3 News, Accra.
Moving on, gross indiscipline and disrespect for authority have become the order of the day for pupils and students in some schools. Teachers who were well respected and seen as change agents are now being insulted and even beaten with impunity by the very students they teach. In this report, Evelyn Tingma asked if corporal punishment should be reintroduced in the schools.
Corporal punishments such as caning, kneeling down and spanking were common in schools as they were done to check indiscipline among pupils and students. But in 2017, the Ghana Education Service officially banned all these forms of corporal punishment, indicating it was to promote a safe and protective learning environment for the children. The GES even went ahead to urge parents to take on teachers who cane their children as well as assault them. Some have argued that this was the beginning of a wanton indiscipline in schools. Besides teaching, the teacher was to instill discipline and moral values in the pupils. Teachers were regarded as role models as well as change agents. They were accorded all the necessary respects and support by society, including parents, as they had the authority to reprimand or discipline any child in the community, regardless of whether it was in school or at home. But today, the story is different. That right to discipline or correct a child in school has been taken away from them, resulting in the wanton indiscipline exhibited by students. The Adisada College case, where a student strangulated a fellow student. The White Technical Senior High case, where two students beat up a housemaster over indecent dressing, and the Bolga and Boko Technical Institutes being closed down for months due to student riots and destruction of property are just the recent ones. Students in the recent past even insulted the President of the Republic because they claimed their West African examination papers were difficult. Some tertiary students we spoke to expressed mixed reactions to the reintroduction of corporal punishment in schools.
During our time, we were punished and all those stuff, so you are even scared to do certain things. So I think they should bring back the old rules, and there's need to be discipline in the schools.
Without the use of cane, like, students hardly listen to whatever you have to say. Even like if you set a test and you say the pass mark is 80, but if you don't get 80, I'm going to lash. You see everybody rushing to learn because they don't want to be lashed.
The caning is not that necessary. It shouldn't be back, but then there are other ways they can introduce the punishment by giving a plot to read, scrubbing, and those things. And I don't blame most of the students nowadays. Sometimes too, it's our parents. Some of the parents, when they hear that their daughter or son has been caned, they'll rather come to the teachers, come and do shege in the school.
When I was in SHS, I was very disciplined because of the corporal punishment. That's the caning and the kneeling down. You know, when you don't obey what your teacher is telling you, you definitely get yourself into trouble by kneeling down, which most of us didn't want to, especially the ladies. So we try to, do the right thing in order to avoid. For the weeding aspects, I'm not sure it's enough to control someone who is very, very stubborn or who is a bully. So I think the corporal punishment should be introduced again.
The teacher unions have expressed concern over the growing acts of indiscipline among students.
When the Ghana Education Service some time ago announced wide changes in how students are disciplined, significantly the taking out of the corporal punishment without necessarily replacing it with any effective means of sanctions. We have now what we have in our schools because there seems to be a vacuum.
The GES came out with a draft. We have made some contributions into it, and we are hoping that sooner or later the code for students will soon be published.
MP for Bulsa South, Dr. Clement Apak, who thinks corporal punishment should not be reintroduced, says probably the country is copying blindly from the West.
Perhaps we are copying blindly because a child growing up in Canada, in America, the social, cultural environment is definitely different from the Ghanaian context. So whereas maybe in those parts of the world, other forms of discipline will be effective, maybe here it is not working. And if that is the case, we need to take another look at it.
He stressed the need for parents' involvement in instilling discipline.
One of the challenges we have, which I think is unfortunate, that you tend to see parents and guardians going to school to challenge teachers and sometimes even mobilize people to assault teachers for disciplining their wards who misconduct themselves in school. So when you do that, the message you are sending to the students and the pupils is that they can do any and everything and get away with it.
Well, the Ghana National Association of Teachers says proposals have been made to the Ghana Education Service on this matter, and everyone awaits to see what the GES comes up with as a lasting solution to this canker. Evelyn Tenkma, TV3 News, Accra.
The government and the United Nations Development Programme are introducing a campaign dubbed the Atlantic Corridor Initiative to address issues of radical extremism. The project targets highly volatile communities in Ghana, Togo, Benin, and the Ivory Coast.
The Sahel region has been identified as a hotbed of violent extremism. In 2022, terrorism-related deaths in the Sahel region exceeded those in South Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa combined. Violent extremist activities in West Africa have resulted in thousands of innocent individuals being killed. The alarming rate of unemployment among the youth, localized conflict, weak governance structures, transactional crime, and farmer-herder conflicts have been identified as factors. Ghana, being surrounded by countries to the north that are witnessing violent extremism, places the country at risk. There are concerns that the youth unemployment situation could open the door for some jobless youth to be recruited by extremists. The Danish government, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme UNDP, launched the Atlantic Corridor Initiative, an 18-month project aimed at intensifying the campaign against terrorism in Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin Republic, and Togo.
So this project is very important because it's trying to address these localized drivers of radicalization. So for instance, working with the communities to see how we can strengthen the early warning system so they understand what terrorism is and they also understand how they can respond. But also it's looking at how we can address some of the messages that the communities are getting so that they're able to understand and come up with counter messages against radicalization.
The Danish ambassador to Ghana, Tom Norik, wants attention focused on northern Ghana.
There is a need for somebody to stop the flow of terrorists and violent extremists into northern Ghana, into the other countries in the north. But that is not the long-term solution. That cannot be the long-term solution. The long-term solution must be found on the ground with the people in the communities, making sure that there is development.
The Chief Director at the Ministry of the Interior, Adelaide Anokumi, called for collaboration among the state security apparatus to safeguard the country's borders.
Violent extremist activities and terrorist attacks in some African countries, especially in the neighboring countries in the Sahel, always serves as a threat of terrorism to Ghana. In order to protect citizens and residents of Ghana and investment, necessary measures have to be put in place to preserve the safety and security in Ghana.
This is Midday Live on TV3. We're going for a break. We're back with more stories. Please stay with us.
Ubedi Lotto wa Ghana Padia and one they were 539 direct, the best Lotto game in Ghana. You will hear say Ubenya with solid magic numbers. A free bako, equasi 39.
Wow! Director enough winning no each show.
Abran Edino, what the 2 Ghana cities play and a 2 you. And to also call *446# across all networks. Ucha direct one. Ubedi 20 times Sika Udikayan. Ucha direct 2. Ubedi 40 times Sika Udikayan. And a direct train so Ebema wedi 400 times.
We no eat shock.
Kwame so enedino. We no eat choke. Hey! Direct 2 na mi try na farmer me. We no dey choke ampa. They were 539 direct.
We no eat choke.
The fishing industry in Ghana is of prime importance to the economy and the well-being of the people. Sadly, this critical industry faces a hidden threat that threatens its very existence and survival. Join us as we shine our spotlight on the canker of illegal fishing, a practice that has devastated our marine resources, depleting our fish stock, leaving our fishermen with empty nets, fish processors struggling to survive, and our communities in dire straits. We delve into safe fish handling and processing, certification and licensing schemes. We focus our sharp lenses on child labor and trafficking in fishing communities to demand accountability and responsiveness from duty bearers. Join 3 Foundations advocacy for Ghana's fisheries recovery through missions compelling and captivating advocacy. Keep an eye out on TV3. This program is under the auspices of the Feed the Future Ghana Fisheries Recovery Activity, funded by USAID, from the American people, live on News 360 and across all Media Journal social media platforms.
Now, in order to curtail the flow of a monthly period, some of the girls here use anything from rags, old clothes, toilet papers, even baby diapers, or literally anything that can absorb the flow. She's at the moment experiencing her monthly flow and also wearing a rag to absorb the flow because she cannot afford a pad.
My mom wasn't having money, so I could use napkin during my period, so I could stay home for 1 week.
Beyond the issue of they even have to beg for or have to have a sexual relationship with people to be able to afford it, their right to education is also at stake.
The provision of free sanitary pads for girls in deprived areas of the country is a must.
How do we have luxury taxes on something as basic as a sanitary pad?
It's a cardinal sin.
This is unacceptable.
Period.
My period is not a shame. A documentary by Godwin Asineba airs on Wednesday, August 2 at 9 p.m. on TV3, TV3 Ghana across social media and 3news.com.
The age-old rivalry that senior high schools engage in is still present within alumni. The battle for bragging rights to a particular endeavor remains even after school. If your school can cook, it means your school is here. If your school can boast of good culinary masterminds, this right here is the perfect platform to showcase that skill set. Alumni have met and they have chosen representatives to take up the task of preparing extraordinary dishes to bring victory to their respective schools.
Tell me what you're cooking.
Week in, week out, these schools will mount these workstations in a bid to buy your nutritional affinity to them. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare your taste buds and fasten your aprons. These culinary experts are set to battle for the enviable crown of being tagged Lords of the Kitchen. This is Kitchen Wars Season 2.
Kitchen Wars Season 2, Sundays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix.
And Napa Foods. Say Napa. Enye Ono Soko.
PGL.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Let's bring you more stories. As the Chief Director of the Ministry of Roads and Highways, Engineer Dr. Bas Awolo, says some of the road information systems will be digitalized to facilitate trade and integration of member states in the ECOWAS sub-region. He was addressing transport experts from West African states in a meeting held to ensure a seamless transport system in the sub-region by developing a unified road system.
African states are linked together by roads known as the Central Corridor. It is a vital link for trade that connects Accra to Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso, Bamako in Mali and other West African states. In order for trade and migration to be easy, there is a need for a unified information system recognizable by the Anglophone and Francophone states. ECOWAS, with the support of the European Union, is implementing a transport project to improve interstate movements. Director of Transport at ECOWAS Commission, Chris Appiah, says the road information systems data will be uploaded to the cloud for security purposes.
What gave birth to this really is to make sure that we have a uniform and harmonized set of community highway roads that present similar good conditions. We needed to scope what our countries have, what is the level of preparation or readiness of our 15 member states in terms of road asset management systems. So ECOWAS, with our specialists, scoped all countries, looked at where we are, and then based on that, we are developing a harmonized set of standards and system elements that will enable us to integrate all these systems into a single regional road information system.
Chief Director of the Ministry of Roads and Highways, Engineer Dr. Bas Awolo, says the integration of the road system is to facilitate trade in the region.
Abidjan without any difficulty. You shouldn't be able to you shouldn't go to a place and stop and be asking where else. There will be road information systems that will guide you. Some of them will be digital in a way that will give you information on incidents that have happened on the corridor and what are the opportunities or what are the options that you have along that corridor. So yes, so because it's going to be a road that will facilitate trade, as it were, the information along that corridor should be uniform in a way that anybody who drives on it should appreciate it.
The Road Information System meeting sought to review the road information systems in the ECOWAS region and, in turn, develop a highway road with similar conditions to enable the movement of goods and services.
Now, the Member of Parliament for Jirapa in the Upper West region, Cletus Dapila, wants government to immediately release funds for the payment of contractors who have abandoned work on roads to resume operations. He spoke to journalists in Parliament.
I filed a question in connection with the road, the only road, trunk road connecting Jirapa to Duri. Duri is the hometown of SD Dombo, founding member of the UP tradition. The only trunk road leading to his hometown has not been constructed. Contract was awarded far back 2020, and the contractor was supposed to complete the job in 2022. But as I'm addressing you, the contractor has abandoned site due to delay in payment. So I filed a question to listen to the horse's own mouth, that is the Minister for Roads and Highways, and the assurances he has given, I don't think that they are ready to do the job. So I just want to use your medium to appeal to the entire government machinery of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that this is the hometown of their founding member, SD Dombo. They should do something to honor the man. His subjects, where he comes from, they also want to fill the development. They want development. Even if it's a polyclinic, you know, or just to construct the road, that one alone, the people will be so happy about it.
Now, some managers of community water systems in the Ashanti region have expressed concern over the high iron content found in groundwater. At the second conference of the network of community water services, stakeholders of the community pipe water services said the worrying situation is not only posing a health risk to consumers, but also draining their finances.
Drinking water that contains iron can be beneficial to one's health. However, excessive iron in drinking water may potentially damage your body and cause numerous health concerns. Residents of Pramso in the Ashanti region are becoming alarmed with the high level of iron in their borehole. Water systems manager of the area, Isaac Amankwa, appears worried.
This water system is actually facing some challenges on iron content in our water. It's high when there's no water running through the pipelines. But after some times, then we get water passing through the pipe connection lines for about 2 hours. Then the iron stain settles for us to get the quality water. But it's costing us a lot financially because you have to spill out more water before you get the needed quality that you can use at your various homes and all that. So
the network of community water services intends to provide the community with iron removing plant for safe water.
We are with our sponsors, the Aqua for All. We're planning to build iron removal plants so that communities that have got higher iron contents in them, we can go and help them. Moreover, that's why we are setting up a capital account for every community. So through that, we can lend them loans to buy whatever chemicals they need for the iron removal.
Mosohima Nanaye Champoma Enima Kotroaka II applauded NETCOAS for ensuring communities get safe drinking water. The NETCOAS conference brought together water system managers to deliberate and share experiences on how to improve water systems in their various areas.
President of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Perpetual Ofori Ampafo, has lamented the impact of the brain drain of nurses in healthcare delivery in the country. She observed that the seasonal canker has affected the delivery of special nursing services.
Speaking at the commissioning of the Nightingale Education Complex, an educational institution built by the Nurses and Midwifery Association at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi, Perpetua entreated their colleagues to work passionately and deliver as expected of them.
Even as some of our colleagues emigrate out of Ghana for greener pastures, and the workload continues to increase on us. In some units, we know you are already burnt out because that kind of specialized units where you are working in requires specialized skills. And all those colleagues have done what? They've gone abroad. Beyond all these challenges, I just want to encourage you. We have been called to serve our fellow human being who always comes in a vulnerable position. So let us care with all the passion that we can.
Whilst urging members of the association to stay committed in serving the nation, she called on the Ministry of Health to post the 2020 batch of nurses and midwives who have completed their courses of study to fill up the vacancies created.
The 2020 batch have been waiting for far too long. Nursing is about skills, about the knowledge you have acquired, how you can apply it to patient care. And the more our colleagues stay home, the more they become rusty. They become stale with whatever they have learned. And it's about time the Ministry of Health treats this as a matter of urgency.
The educational facility will provide quality education to wards of nurses and midwives at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital and surrounding communities.
Media Live on TV3 returns with the latest in sports after this break. Stay with us.
Ubedi Lotto wa Ghana Padia and one they were 539 direct, the best Lotto game in Ghana. The Uhiani say Ubenya with solid magic numbers. Every bako equasi 39 mo.
Wow! Director enough fat winning no each show.
Abran Edino, what the 2 Ghana cities pet and a 2 you. And to also call *446# across all networks. Ucha direct one. Ubedi 20 times Sika Udikayeno. Ucha direct tour. Ubedi 40 times Sika Udikayeno. And a direct train so Ebema wedi 400 times.
A fuck we no eat shot.
Kwame so enedino. A fuck we no eat chok. Hey! Direct tuna mi kana fama me. We no dey choke ampa. They were 539 direct. A fuck we no eat chok.
Once again, we come to you, this time with 6 athletes who are all vying for a place in the semi-final of 2023 Ghana Strongest, right here on TV3. This Sunday at 4 p.m, make a date with us as we bring you 4 different challenges. You will see the squat, the tire flip, the giant power stairs, and the Ghana stone. These 6 athletes will be having and trying their hands at these different challenges as we find out which 5 will make it into the semi-final. Don't miss it. Right here on TV3, Ghana's Strongest, the power to do.
Catch Ghana's Strongest this Sunday at 4 p.m. only on TV3. Ghana's Strongest is powered by Gasem, the nation builder. Brought to you by Mixi Choco, Channel Hot,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Drugnet.
Welcome back. Yao Fusulabi standing by to bring us the latest in sports. Over to you, Yao.
Well, thank you so much, Crosby. And straight to the sports news. The head coach of Oko United, Prince Owusu, has attributed the struggles of the Black Stars to the lack of quality strikers and high turnover of the coaching staff. Now, Prince Owusu spoke to my colleague, Ore Kwampafo.
Yeah, I think it's a big problem with our strikers now. In Ghana, before we were able to produce very good ones, we are not doing that now. So the scoring of goals is very difficult. Most of the time, the midfield comes forward and score for us, to win our big games, But we need to work things out well.
Prince Owusu is head coach of Oko United. Some more stories. And Astro Turfs are playing an instrumental role in Ghana's football development. And there are over 100 of those facilities across the country and have helped in the growth of the game. This report throws more light on how the facilities have become such an important part of infrastructure in this country.
Originally created in the 1960s, Astro Turfs have become a part of modern-day football and is the surface for hosting training sessions and football matches across the country. The Astro Turf is a surface of synthetic fibers that appears as natural grass if viewed from a distance. About 600,000 Ghana cedis goes into the production or sale of these turfs, And due to its expensive nature, government has completed about 30 of these turfs since 2017.
We started with a concept in Kotobabi in 2015. 2016, Arsene Wenger approached us, and then we did one for him in Accra Academy. We realized that if you need to do an Astro Turf, certainly you need to bring people from outside to come and construct it for you. And you know, by all means, it will increase your cost in terms of bringing expatriate people to come and stay in hotels and all that. So what I did was to commission some people to go to Turkey to understudy the Turkish to see how it is being done. Then they came to Kotobabi to help us to do the other one.
In 2016, there were only 2 of them in this country. Now they are scattered all across the country, from Kotobabi to Wale Wale, and it is the vision of those in power to build a few more. He believes talent and the provision of these turfs are intertwined to bringing out the best in young people in the country. Robert Tetekoman has also played a pivotal role in the usage and introduction of Astro Turfs in Ghana, after venturing into building these turfs since 2011.
When we started, we challenged ourselves that, look, the Medina Astro Turf, we need to invite FIFA to come and validate and look at the quality of what we have done. I am excited and humbled to say, and I say it with pride, that Wembley is the only company in West Africa, if not Africa, that has been able to do an Astro Turf, and then they submitted themselves to FIFA to come and validate it, and they gave us a certificate on that.
The Wembley Sports construction has been integral to building a lot of the Astro Turfs in the country. Coman says Astro Turfs cannot be the only form of sports infrastructure in the country. Although he has constructed 65 of those across the country, he wants a clear plan for the young ones in the country on sports.
We are not also saying that we need to do Astro Turfs everywhere. We must be able to blend it with the natural grass because of the climatic condition. In Accra, for example, hardly it doesn't rain often, and maintaining the natural grass is cumbersome, at the same time extremely expensive. So in areas that we have a very good climatic condition or the weather is good, that the grass can flourish, I think I will encourage that other people will also enter or veer into that aspect so that we can have a blend of the Astro Turfs and the natural grass.
Right now, Juventus have been kicked out of this season's Europa Conference League by UEFA and fined for breaching financial fair play as FFP rules. Now, European football's governing body has also fined Chelsea for breaching FFP rule as a result of submitting incomplete financial information. Now, also, UEFA says the matter relates to transactions which took place between 2012 and 2019. Juventus have been fined 17.14 million, while Chelsea have been fined £8.57 million. Let's head to England, where Arsenal have unveiled a bronze statue of legendary former manager Arsene Wenger outside of the Emirates Stadium. He helped the Gunners to 3 Premier League titles and 7 FA Cups during his reign from 1996 to 2018. The Frenchman is lifting the Premier League trophy in the 3.5-meter statue outside the North Bank stand at the Emirates Stadium. The 73-year-old will be a guest of honor for Arsenal's home friendly against Monaco, another one of his former clubs, on Wednesday. Well, that's all the sports news this afternoon here on Midday Live on TV3. My name is Yao Fusula. Entertainment News is up next.
Welcome back to the entertainment segment of the program. And various schools are already hyped up to display their skills in the kitchen and win the ultimate in season 2 of TV3's Kitchen Wars. But the judges of the culinary battle are expecting a high level of professionalism as the show officially begins this Sunday at 5 p.m.
For the next 13 weeks,
Old boys and girls from various senior high schools across the length and breadth of the country will compete for the bragging rights, the cash and the trophy in what promises to be yet another exciting Kitchen Wars Season 2.
The first school will be Pope John's SHS. Moving on to the second school in Group D, Agri Memorial.
After a successful launch and balloting last weekend, all is set for the competing schools to display their skills in the kitchen to win the ultimate.
We've provided you with a kitchen, giving you everything you need to emerge as the best culinary school in Ghana. What would be the difference for you? Remember, it would have to be that secret recipe that you are bringing on board.
The schools are already hyped up, but the judges have higher expectations.
First of all, we go into the execution, which involves the delivery structure. Then we get to the appearance. So the appearance involves the food, the color, the texture, like what really goes into it. So at the end of it all, then that's when we have the taste.
Great.
So I want to see the entire overall presentation performance of the entire team.
Welcome up.
Last season, it was very interesting. We had a lot of interesting schools, a lot of interesting culinary activities and culinary skills. Hoping this year we have more of that or something more interesting, more creativity than before, because I'm expecting by now they should have learned from their predecessors. So fun, good cooking skills.
Make a date at 5 p.m. on TV3 this Sunday for the all-new season of Culinary Battle, Kitchen Wars.
The title holders are West Africa SHS. Who wins the title of Kitchen Wars Season 2?
Now, African-American jazz trumpeter Derek Gardner is on the move to assemble a jazz orchestra in Ghana through the Jazz Accra Repatriation Project. When established, the project will serve as a pathway to draw musicians and music lovers to Ghana from across the African diaspora and showcase the artistic talent of Ghanaian musicians and the African-American counterparts.
Born in Chicago, jazz trumpeter Derek Gardner got his start in the New York jazz scene in 1991 and has since worked tirelessly as a composer. Derek, who formed his own sextet, the Jazz Prophets, in 1991, has since traveled the world playing top-flight jazz. Derek, who is in Ghana on the ticket of the Beyond the Return, believes strongly that jazz music can be a vehicle to attract a lot more African Americans to Ghana.
And create a professional jazz orchestra that creates diasporan pathway for African American jazz musicians to come here and look at Ghana as a viable source of extending their musical career, and not just looking to other places in the United States, and not just looking to Europe or to Asia or to Australia, they all have like these wonderful jazz festivals that they go to.
Performing at the Coldstream Jazz Club in Accra, the Jazz Prophet sees a bright future for jazz music in Ghana.
And I'm hoping in 5 years that it will be firmly established and rolling, and we have like an influx of African-American jazz musicians that are coming here to work with the established Ghanaian jazz musicians that are already here, like my brother Victor Day.
We'll bring you some international news outside this break.
The old narrative of a woman only belonging to the kitchen is long gone. In today's world, a woman can be anywhere she decides to be, whether in the kitchen cooking or in offices where corporate decisions are made. In fact, anywhere and everywhere, women can choose to do anything they want to stand out. Beneath all the makeup and beautiful clothes are women who have lived through it all. will literally live the expression turning lemons thrown at us into lemonades. Thank you, everyone. The journey to being a great, successful woman is not easy. And on these brand new episodes of Today's Woman, I'll bring you women from all walks of life who will share their stories with you, inspire you, uplift you, and let their hair down.
I'm going to Makola.
Also self-acclaimed.
Yes, yeah, it's self-acclaimed actually.
I'm still struggling with the fufu and the banku because I chew it.
No.
I know, right?
Akosia,
I know.
you're supposed to swallow it.
Why didn't you ask me to make like TZ or banku?
How can you make TZ in this kitchen?
Don't miss a single episode of Today's Woman with me, your new host, Cookie T, as I bring to your homes exciting conversation.
Today's Woman, all new season with Cookie T shows Saturdays at 3 p.m. on TV3. Today's Woman is brought to you by Latex Foam, Vlisco.
In international news this afternoon, the U.S. has offered unflagrant support to Niger's ousted President Mohamed Bazoum after he was ousted in a coup. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken warned those detaining Bazoum that hundreds of millions of dollars of assistance was at risk. The head of the Presidential Guards Unit, General Abdurrahman Chichani, has declared himself Niger's new leader. Bazoum had been considered a key Western ally in the fight against Islamist militants in the region. There are now concerns in the West about which countries the new leader will align with. Niger's neighbors, Burkina Faso and Mali, have both pivoted towards Russia since their own coups. Mohamed Bazoum, Niger's first elected leader to succeed another since independence in 1960, is currently thought to be in good health and still held captive by his own guards. Meanwhile, the EU has suspended all security cooperation with Niger after the country's army took power in a coup. Still news outside the Ghanaian border, Russian President Vladimir Putin says his country and the African leaders have agreed to promote a multipolar world order and fight neocolonialism as he offered debt write-offs and grain to woo allies. On Thursday, Vladimir Putin promised free grain to 6 African nations and assured them that Moscow was trying to avert a global food crisis. This was nearly a week after withdrawing from an agreement that allowed Ukraine, one of the world's largest grain producers, to export its farm product across the Black Sea. The Russian leader also mentioned the joint determination to counter neocolonialism, the practice of applying illegitimate sanctions, and attempts to undermine traditional moral values. Representatives of 49 countries, including 17 heads of state, attended the summit in the Russian city. That's our package for you this afternoon, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby, and on behalf of the entire production team, thank you so much for watching the bulletin. See you again some other time. Good afternoon. Bye-bye.